Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. We hear the phrase artificial intelligence absolutely everywhere these days, right? But honestly, separating the crazy hype from how the actual mechanics work, well, it can feel completely overwhelming. So today, we're going to cut right through all that jargon and demystify the smart machines that are actively reshaping our world. Let's dive in. Okay, first up, is AI a sci-fi robot trying to take over the world? Look, when we hear AI, I think most of our minds instantly jump straight to those Hollywood blockbusters. You know the ones, usually featuring some rogue robot with glowing red eyes who suddenly decides humanity is obsolete. And honestly, that's a completely natural reaction. It's based on literally decades of pop culture. But is that our actual current reality? Simply put, no, absolutely not. So instead of picturing a sci-fi villain, I want you to think of AI as an incredibly smart calculator for the modern era. Remember when you used a calculator back in high school? You punched in a bunch of numbers to get a math result? Well, today's AI is essentially just an advanced version of that tool, but built to compute language, images, and audio instead of just numbers. It's basically a highly capable digital assistant that can read, see, listen, and learn. So, what's the actual goal here? Well, at its core, artificial intelligence is just a field of computer science. Its aim is to build smart machines capable of performing tasks that usually require human intelligence. Basically, we're trying to replicate human cognitive abilities. Think about things like understanding spoken language, recognizing faces in a crowd, making complex decisions, and this is the absolutely crucial part, actually learning from mistakes. All right, moving on to learning through pattern recognition, the shift from rules to examples. To really grasp this, we need to look at the stark contrast in how we actually build software. Because for decades, traditional software relied entirely on explicit, step-by-step rules written out by human programmers. It was a super rigid logic chain. If this happens, then do that. But with artificial intelligence, everything changes. Instead of writing those rigid rules, we feed the computer massive amounts of data and just let it figure out the patterns completely on its own. We are fundamentally shifting from handing computers a strict rulebook to letting them learn by example. Think about it like this. Imagine trying to teach a toddler what a dog looks like. You absolutely wouldn't hand them some dense engineering manual detailing the exact ear-to-nose ratio of a golden retriever, right? That rigid manual approach just totally fails when you're dealing with the complexity of the real world. Instead, what do? You show the kid 50 pictures of dogs and just say, hey, this is a dog. And eventually, their brain naturally picks up on those visual patterns. Well, AI works the exact same way. If you feed a pattern engine thousands of images, it learns the concept organically. It's pretty amazing.
Okay, so now let's look at the hierarchy of smart machines and start unpacking some of those buzzwords you constantly hear.
A great way to think about these terms is to picture them like concentric circles. The largest, outermost circle is artificial intelligence itself. That's just the broad, overarching vision of creating smart machines. Then, nestled right inside that, we have machine learning, which is the actual method we just talked about, where we train a computer using data. And then right at the very core, you'll find deep learning. This is a highly advanced type of machine learning that's actually inspired by the neural networks in the human brain. It's what we use for the really complex stuff, like autonomous driving. Let's zoom in on machine learning for a second, because it's really the actual engine making this whole dream of AI possible. It's the practical, hands-on science of training a computer to learn from data without explicitly programming it. In fact, here's a little secret. When the business world talks about AI today, I'd say 99% of the time, they are specifically talking about applied machine learning. Now, right now, we are living through a massive shift between two totally distinct eras of artificial intelligence. On one side, we have everyday or narrow AI. This is AI that's built to do one specific task and do it incredibly well. It mostly just analyzes existing data to predict an outcome or run a specific function. But on the other side, we have the newest wave, generative AI. And this is a massive leap forward because it moves way beyond just analyzing what already exists and actually steps into autonomous creation based on prompts from you and me. But hey, before we get distracted by the flashy new generative AI, let's pause and talk about narrow AI for a second. Because you might be sitting there thinking, well, I don't really use AI. But the truth is, it's already working quietly in the background of almost everything you do. Think about it. When you glance at your smartphone, Face ID is using computer vision to securely unlock your device. Behind the scenes, language models are powering your autocorrect. When you hop in your car to go somewhere, your navigation tools aren't just showing you a static map anymore. They're constantly analyzing live traffic data to predict the absolute fastest route. And those streaming platforms we all love, they use machine learning to analyze your past viewing habits just to predict what you'll want to binge watch next. It's highly specialized, and it's already seamlessly woven right into our daily routines.
But as we mentioned, we're transitioning. Let's look at the new era of creation, moving beyond analysis to generation.
Because those background tasks we just talked about are fundamentally analytical. Generative AI, on the other hand, actually creates brand new assets from just a simple text prompt. You just type an instruction and the technology branches out. I mean, text generators like ChatGPT can draft entire essays or summarize super complex topics in seconds. Meanwhile, image generators like Midjourney can take a single descriptive sentence and create stunning photorealistic artwork completely from scratch. It is literally conjuring new content right out of thin air. It's wild. So let's explore advantages over human constraints and exactly why we use these tools. There are three main advantages here. First up is speed and scale. I mean, AI can analyze literally millions of medical records or complex financial transactions in a matter of seconds to find anomalies that a human eye might completely miss. Second is 24/7 availability. These systems do not sleep, they don't take coffee breaks. That makes them absolutely perfect for continuous monitoring or instant customer service. And finally, automation. By taking over all those boring, repetitive, data-heavy tasks, AI actually frees us up to focus on what we humans do best, which is creative, empathetic, and complex problem solving. So now that you have a really solid, structured understanding of these fundamentals, the real question isn't whether AI is going to take over the world. The question is, how are you going to leverage it? Are you just going to let it remain a quiet background helper, or will you actively partner with it to enhance your own creativity and output? The machines are out there, and they are ready to learn. The next step is completely up to you. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I will see you next time.